Attention, please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Live from Columbus, Ohio, it's Motown Downtown!
Motown Downtown, come on down to Motown Downtown.
Today's guest, cult classic Cage.
Come on down to Motown Downtown.
My name is Tyson Bruno, and here's your host, Mo Chocolate.
Come on down to Motown Downtown.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Motown Downtown, where you are guaranteed to make sure that you have a wonderful time and the greatest time. That's right. That's right. Okay, so before we start, I hope everyone out there had an awesome spooky month and happy turkey month to every single one of you. Every single one of you. That's right. Okay, so with that out the way, let's welcome today's special guest, shall we? Drum roll, please. Ladies and gents, I am so freaking excited for today's guest. She is a content creator and streamer and the most outspoken, don't give a shit, call you out on your bullshit female on the internet. And she's the coolest, most greatest friend anyone can have. Folks, put your hands together for the one and only Cult Classic Cage! Sup, Cass?
Yo, what is up? That is a legendary intro, man. I don't know if I'm truly deserving, but
you are a legendary person, Kaz. You are a legendary person, and I just had to go all out for the one and only Cult Classic Cage. Just saying. Love you to death, buddy. Well, before we get started, go ahead and tell us, for those who don't know who you are, go ahead and tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I am Cassie Cage of the Cult Classic Cage Show, the self-proclaimed queen of the tomboys, and I just love talking about gaming, things that I'm interested in, things that I have concerns with, and just having some fun, having some laughs, meeting new people. That's just honestly what it's been all about for me. So it's been a crazy experience, I guess, doing YouTube and streaming and just meeting new people from all different walks of life, and I'm happy to be here with you, man.
Nice. But yeah, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come here, buddy. I really appreciate that. So yeah, before we get into the questions, what have you been gaming? What you been playing? What you been playing as of lately?
Oh man, I have been no-lifing RoboCop, man. That game is sick.
Nice.
I'm actually shocked that it's as good as it is. RoboCop doesn't usually get too much love, man. It's a very rare occasions for it to be as good as it is. That has been where my hype's been at. I put like almost 250 hours into Starfield, and I just can't put down that jank amazing time. Absolute mess of amazingness, and I definitely want to dive into that whole experience when the time is right. But I've been enjoying the hell out of that. I started playing Callisto Protocol for the holiday season of Halloween, because I really love Halloween, and that has been really cool. I've been kind of juggling some games, man, but I've been having a good time. I just recently beat Marvel's Spider-Man 2, which, there's some things that I like about it, some things that I'm questioning about it, but hey, man, nonetheless, it was an interesting experience. And yeah, man, just gaming, been having fun, enjoying a plethora of releases this year that, it's been surprising. 2023 has been pretty decent in terms of game drops, man.
Yeah, same here. It says I'm right now. I got to that part. of Spider-Man 2, and if y'all were watching me last night live on Twitch, you know my reaction, but that was the greatest moment of 2023 for me. Out of all the gaming things that happened this year, that for me personally was the best part. I am also like, I defeated the Bahamut boss fight in FF16. And yeah, so I mean, I wanna buy Mario Wonder. I'm just broke as a motherfucker right now. Other than that, just playing, just grinding on Spider-Man, really. But yeah, my first question, Kaz, is how did you get into video games? Like, were you Team Nintendo, Team PlayStation, Team Sega, what?
For me, I never really had an allegiance. I started gaming when I was like 5 or 6 years old.
Nice.
I didn't understand the concept of like companies. I just seen games, and what kind of sparked my interest was seeing my cousin having a Game Boy Color, and I'm like, whoa, what are you playing there? And they were playing obviously Pokemon. I feel like everyone was playing Pokemon on Game Boy
Oh
Color. I'm
yeah.
like, I want that. Hey, mom, dad, please can I have one of those? And my parents used to live kind of like Amish people besides having a TV. And they were my dad always did this thing where he would always act like I wasn't getting what I wanted. And then come like my birthday or Christmas, I'd get it. So like I thought for the whole Christmas season, oh man, my parents aren't gonna cave to be getting into this whole gaming thing. So I'd have to like watch people play video games, which I've never been like the biggest fan of. I'm a very interactive person,
Yeah.
but I remember I watched my friends at school play their Game Boy Color, and my cousin play her Game Boy Color, and yeah, I was like, damn man, I feel left out here. But thankfully, the good graces of Santa Claus blessed me with a Game Boy Color, and the first game that I had that I literally owned was Miss Pac-Man. So for a female
Awesome.
getting into gaming, I think that is the greatest way to get into it, man, as a female in the gaming space. So I
Okay.
remember that very fondly. For me, I never really seen like companies, and maybe if I did, I probably wouldn't have been, such a tough person to please, and not really a tough person to please, but I wouldn't be asking for this console because I seen this game. All I seen was a game, and I'm like, okay, so it's on this console. I need that, or I want that, and I would obviously request it. And my parents were very kind to me, and I was very spoiled when I was little, since I was an only child for about 6 years. So I got
Mm,
lucky, man. And so I had a PlayStation 1, had an N64.
nice.
I was into whatever, man, as long as I seen a game that they're like, oh man, this looks worth it. And I've always kept that. Like for me, if I see games that I'm like, oh man, I like this game. All right, it's on this console, it's on the Xbox. All right, well, I'm getting an Xbox. I'm getting a PlayStation. It's whatever to me at
That's
this
the
point.
philosophy that all gamers should have. Is like, if I want this game, buy the console. Don't go to Twitter and talk shit about it. Just saying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
like,
mean, they have to convince you to want it. And if they convince you, man, then don't let, a particular company disincentivize you from playing what you want to play.
I agree. I agree completely, and that's why we get along so well. So do you have a favorite console, and why?
Well, I'd have to say my all-time favorite console is probably the PS2, man. Mostly for them from Dragon Ball Z exclusives that are on the PS2.
Oh yeah, I see those figurines around you in that shirt you're wearing.
Yeah, I'm extremely nostalgic for Dragon Ball Z. When there was a new Dragon Ball Z game, I was getting it. There's just no question about it. And PS2 had pretty much all of them, and no one else did for the most part, other than I think a couple of releases. And obviously the Game Boy Advance games, I love those too, by the way. It's always a toss up between like Game Boy Advance and PS2 in terms of what I love the most. But in terms of consoles, the PS2 is definitely up there. They had
That's
Oh
good
man,
choice.
that's when games weren't afraid of being extra as fuck. And
Trying
letting
different
you
things,
indulge
yeah. Trying
in
different
some
things,
crazy
trying new
things.
things, because games back then were cheaper to make, so they could just take a risk, and if it fails, whatever. We have like 20 other games to play, you know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah. I mean, I would play stuff like The Punisher on PS2, which is like I felt like, oh man, I feel like I'm doing something I shouldn't be allowed to do, but I can't help it. It is so much fun. And obviously playing the GTA games on the PS2, man. Um, there's just so many good moments. Playing a game that nobody seems to know of called Headhunter, which was really cool. It felt like a mix between like The Matrix and RoboCop at the time. I thought that was really cool. So there's definitely a lot of games.
A lot.
Sheesh.
Still to
True
this very
crime.
day, the highest selling console of all time. That still blows
Yeah.
my mind, man.
I mean, for good reason, man. You definitely got to put some respect on the PS2's name.
Agreed, yeah. So, I mean, Cass, do you have a favorite and least favorite video game?
Um, well, it's a toss up. I guess the most nostalgic, like favorite video game of all time for me is Elder Scrolls Oblivion.
Nice.
That was my obsession for like 3 straight years. I had like a dozen, almost a dozen characters that I had specific builds and whatnot. I was really into it. That was like my first where I was like completely coherent to be able to engage in an RPG experience. So when I remember playing some RPG games back in the day, but I was like I was super young and I didn't really understand like fundamentals. So I never got far in RPG games until I played Oblivion and it clicked. Now, a more recent game would have to be Dragon Quest 11. That game is it's so heartwarming, man. I was just in my absolute happy place playing Dragon Quest 11 on the Switch. It is I can't recommend it enough. If you want a game that just makes you feel happy, I don't know what it is. It's just like that magic to that game that I really do appreciate. So it's definitely a toss up between those two games.
Okay.
Another one I guess I could throw in there is Dragon Ball Z: The Legacy of Goku 2 on Game Boy Advance. I freaking love that game. Oh my god, I play it like every other year. I can't help it. It's just a great way to run through the Dragon Ball Z storyline. Least favorite game, it's kind of hard to say. It's rare when I genuinely hate a game, but there's games that have been like disappointments to me. Like I guess like the Order 1886.
Yeah.
I famously use the Steelbook of the Order 1886 as a place to put my mug or my glass on. I'm like, this is what this game is good for, because there's not really much gameplay here. It looks gorgeous. Could have been a great game.
Yeah.
They would have added multiplayer and maybe more combat and
I agree.
whatnot.
It would have been their Gears of War, basically. Like, if they
Yeah.
removed those black fucking lines, I hated those. And yeah,
Yeah.
make the game longer than a couple hours, seriously. Other than
Yeah,
that,
I mean, like, you know what? I don't mind a short experience, but let it be an interactive short experience where I feel like I'm not restricted all of the time. That's pretty much my biggest problem with gaming now. How restrictive everything feels. With a lot of games going for a cinematic effect,
yeah.
especially if they're in the action adventure genre. I just feel like it's antithetical.
Meaning, like, you want to like explore more and stuff, or like, can you go more into that, like being restrictive?
So for me, there's a lot of companies that I think that they're brilliant in a lot of ways, like genuinely.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of these games want to show you what they're seeing when they're making the game, to the point where I feel like it keeps the gamer from being able to have their own experience. Like they want to force their experience, but I feel like sometimes with some games, there's no room for my own experience. Like I feel like the Order 1886, for example, like it's just a walk straight. You just
Yeah,
keep going straight.
I hated
It's like
that,
you
yeah.
have like these little areas, but it just felt no room to have my own experience in this experience. And to me, it's antithetical to gaming. You know, the whole point of gaming is to interact, to make your experience while being on this journey that developers have crafted for you.
So you mean like a good example would be like to walk down a path. There's people all around you, and you can talk to them, interact with them, go into rooms, go into stores, and talk to people in there, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a lot of different things. Like for example, like I played Starfield. I played that game for over 200 hours because
Nice.
the game just threw you in this world and left you the fuck alone. I didn't feel like restricted at all. It's like, like you have your loading screens. That stuff doesn't really necessarily bother me. Maybe after 200 hours, it can be like, oh, we have another loading screen. But when you're like on these planets, you're just kind of like, well, I'm just gonna go anywhere I want, do whatever I want, and it doesn't really. The game doesn't feel like it's intruding to stop me from being able to just do things and be in the world and just forget that I'm here playing a video game. I just want to feel like I'm in this world.
I see
And when
what
the
you mean.
game
Okay,
steps
okay.
in and it's like, well, we want you to go this way, and I'm just like, damn, like you're taking me out of it. Just let me have this whole experience and not be intruded upon to remind me that it's a video game.
That's basically Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom
Yeah.
wrapped up in a nutshell. They plop you in the game. They're just like, do whatever you want. You want to fight the final boss? Go ahead. You want to go explore? Go ahead. Do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, like Nintendo's genius for it. I didn't see like for me the one thing that stops me with Nintendo right now is just simply the fact that I just feel like the Switch is super outdated and I'm hoping for
Yes.
like
Yes.
I'm hoping that Tears of the Kingdom gets like a re-release on the Switch to 60 FPS, like it looks a little better. I'm in 100%. Like I'm dropping everything for that. Like and the thing is I see how amazing Tears of the Kingdom is. Like it took
Yes.
a while to understand it, but like upon like actually seeing like damn, like if you just, if you think outside the box and you're just like, let me try this, let me try that. Like it's insane some of the
Yeah,
things that you could do in that game.
I agree.
They get it with giving the player like the opportunity to craft their own story, to do things the way that they want to do, to give it a try, to give that option. It's a genius, man. Nintendo, they're beasts over there.
They are, yeah. It's just they 2 steps forward, 5 steps back. But anyway, it's just for me, like I'm calling the next Switch console the Super Switch. The
Hell
Super
yeah.
Switch,
I'm
yeah.
down
That
with it, man.
goes with that, yeah. And it's just like, and I agree, Cass. If they were to port like Tears and all these other games to the Super Switch in 60 frames, day one buy, man. Day one fucking buy, because I love the Switch, but it's a fucking potato. It was outdated the moment it came out. Like my
Yeah.
phone is more powerful than the Switch, man. And it's just I'm glad they're going down the actual better tech route, because all these rumors we're hearing about the Super Switch, how it
It's
can
exciting.
run 7 Remake no problem, Unreal Engine 5 games or 4 games no problem. That gets me so hyped, man. It really does.
Yep.
But rewinding back to you, so everyone has a unique story revolving around their online username. So what is the origins behind Cult Classic Cage? Like, how'd you come up with that name?
So I always like on Twitter went by the alias Cassie Cage because
Mm-hmm.
the Mortal Kombat X version of her was like when they announced that character, I'm like, they made me and put me in a video game. Like a chick that has like snob ass sly remarks that's a badass like her, like that's me. Like nailed it. Tomboy, all that. That is me. I love it. And she has my name. Like, holy crap, that is dope. So, like, I went by the alias Cassie Cage. Unfortunately, with MK11, they didn't really do her nearly as much justice, sadly. So,
Yeah.
that's kind of like the crap thing about it. But I still go by the alias because it's just what I'm known for. And I mean, I've always been a fan of like cult classic films specifically, but also like even cult classic video games. Like I'm here playing RoboCop. I'm pretty freaking certain from what I played, it's gonna likely go down as a cult classic. I love games that are just not people aren't having like huge expectations from them. And then when I give them a try, I'm like, damn, there's so much things to be appreciative of with with a small team or a small budget and the charm that a lot of these underrated games are. Naturally, I'm kind of like I kind of root for the underdogs all the time. I can't help it. It's just in my nature. So and one of my all-time favorite creators is John Carpenter, one of the
Nice.
the king of cult classic films. So I'm like, you know what, I gotta use this Cage moniker because it just sounds cool. So I'm like, I love cult classic stuff. Let's go with cult classic Cage. I like that. Triple C. It just sounded cool. A lot of people at first had a hard time like saying it without. They were like, "Oh, this is a tongue twister." I'm like, you know what? It's whatever, man. I'm naturally just a pain in the ass. So the fact that my name is even hard to say,
That's
it,
awesome.
it goes with me.
I love that. And that is the birth of cult classic Cage. I love it. I love it. So tell us how you got into YouTube content creation. So you come up with this name, you're big into games and stuff. What was the big deciding factor to start posting videos on YouTube?
So it's like one of these things where I would always post my little thoughts about games on Twitter, and a lot of people thought I always had interesting things to say. I never really necessarily engaged with the console war to the level of other people, so I think people thought I was like a fair ground, um, like commentary on things.
Yeah.
And people had said for a while, "Man, you should make a YouTube channel and talk about games because the things that you bring up are from different perspectives that people don't usually bring up." I'm like, I never thought of actually doing any of this up until like about 2 years ago. So the one thing that kind of just made me say I kind of just need something to do is like the unfortunate, passing of my grandfather back 2 years ago.
Mm.
Me and my family would take care of him up until he had unfortunately passed away, and after that, it's just like, well, I had this responsibility. Now I'm kind of just sad getting over it, and now I don't like I have this gap in my life. So I'm like, you know what? I need to put my mind towards something that's sort of creative, something I think I could have fun with. So I just started making YouTube videos. For some
All right.
reason, people think they're entertaining.
Well, I'm sending you all the hugs, Cass. Hugs and
I
appreciation to your way, friend. Well, that's okay. So you start posting on YouTube. What was like your the first video that just blew up, went viral, got the most amount of views? You were like, whoa, that's a lot of views for a video. What was the first video?
Oh man, it's still my biggest video. It's me discussing the Cowboy Bebop live action TV show. And you know, I was saying how I mean, this could be a little bit controversial, but how Ed is a tomboy, not necessarily anything else. And Ed doesn't like as a character. I'm sure like she comes off like the type of person that doesn't like to be, put into like a box. Like she's
Yeah,
clearly different from everyone else. But if you had to put a moniker on what she kind of is as a person, she comes off as a tomboy,
I agree. I
and
agree.
people to kind of assume anything else, and for the casting to be what it was kind of just strange to me, and just the whole show itself was strange to me. And so I put my 2 cents out there as a Cowboy Bebop fan, and people connected with it. The fact that I am a tomboy as well, that definitely, I guess, people thought that, hey man,
You know
maybe she
what
has
you're
a
talking about.
point.
Yep, yeah, because it's coming from a it's come. I see that poster behind you. You are a dedicated fan, a big fan. So like when you give your
Yeah,
opinions, it comes from a place of love for the series, you know. And I'm assuming Ed
yeah.
is your favorite character.
Definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a fight. It's always a fight between all of them because I mean, you got Jet, you got Faye, you got Spike. It's always a fight and it's a testament to the show itself. I think that all the characters are brilliant, even down to Iron the dog. Like they're all
Yes.
amazing in their own way. So, I mean, it's hard to say who's my favorite, but Ed definitely has like a soft place in my heart. Like, man, tomboy representation. Let's go. Let's go.
Aww. I love that. Now, I personally haven't watched the episode because I just heard nothing but bad things about it. But from what I've seen, it looked like they were trying at least. But what do you think? Because the show was not renewed for a second season. What do you think was so bad about the show?
Well, I mean, the first reality of the situation is that Watanabe wasn't directly involved. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at you just look at how that tends to work out. And even Watanabe himself had since come out and said, yeah, it's he only got through like 5 minutes of like the first episode or something like that to that extent. And I'm like, yeah, I'm glad that he spoke up about that because he's dealt with in the past Hollywood kind of butting into the creative mind that he has, and that is a huge problem in Hollywood. And I'm glad that he did speak up because I feel like sometimes, Japanese creators don't get respect. They get a lot of disrespect from the West a lot of the time because the West kind of just thinks that their thought process should be the thought process all around the world, and it's like that's not how the world works. Like the
Mm-hmm.
whole reason why um like everyone's interested in different culture is because it's different everywhere. I don't want the world to be one big samey place. Like it people are infatuated with Japanese entertainment because it's different from what they see every day being living in America. And to want to kind of just take Cowboy Bebop, one of the most influential animes ever made, and really just change that up and do it in a way that doesn't feel it doesn't feel respectful. It sucks. It kind of just feels weird. I mean, they changed characters to the point where, I mean, one character in the series was captured and they were forced to take these drugs that he was a dude and he received breasts from this stuff. Like he was forced to take this stuff against his will, and then he ended up having breasts as a side effect of that. It's not something that he was willing to do, and they changed this character to be like completely the opposite. Like they are willingly this. It's like this person didn't consent to this. Why are we having this? Like, why is this? Why is this being taken in a way that is just not what it is? It kind of feels disrespectful. They haven't seen. It just feels like it's made by people that don't really want to respect the source material. And Watanabe called it out, and I appreciate him for doing that. And fans weren't fooled by it. They were not fooled at all. And that is why it didn't get renewed. And it shouldn't be. Either, do a One Piece with the live action or fuck off. Stop disrespecting culture, art, very respected art. Stop it.
I feel like an idiot because I just realized I didn't put in the right category on Twitch. Oh my god. One second. Yeah, just keep telling us about how you're like, did you not like the Death Note and One Piece Netflix film also?
So I mean, I'm not into One Piece and I'm not into Death Note. I only watched a little bit of One Piece, but all the One Piece like fans are so happy with the new One Piece live action Netflix series, and that's awesome. They feel as though it wasn't perfect, but they went very far to respect the source material, and they included the creator of One Piece in it. The creator
Yeah.
himself was excited to do a live action. He wanted to do it because it's crazy. Because no, I don't think anybody, in terms of One Piece fans, wanted a live action adaptation of the franchise, but he did. So the fact that he wanted it and they respected him enough for him to be a huge part of it and to respect him as the creator, that's awesome. That's stuff that I would love to
Yeah.
see if you're going to do live action of anime.
And everybody watching, go ahead and refresh your screens. We should be at the right title, right category. Sorry about that. That was a doy me moment. But yeah, yeah, honestly, like the Death Note live action shit was trash. It was fucking trash, man. I am a big Death Note fan, and they fucked that shit up. But honestly, the Cowboy Bebop thing wasn't. It was bad, but not as bad as Death Note, for real. So so now I want to talk about Twitch streaming. So you start posting videos on YouTube and stuff. What was the big moment where you were like, okay, this thing about Twitch, live content, I want to do that now. What made you decide to start streaming on Twitch?
So I was just trying to find my place. And,
Yeah.
I started doing YouTube, but I don't like to be in a closed box. I like to try everything, or at least what I feel is reasonable to try. And I'm like, well, I have a little bit of a following on YouTube, but I don't really have like an audience yet. Let me try Twitch and do both since I had the time, and see what happens. Inevitably, I ended up going with YouTube, because I just didn't see. I didn't really get in. I tried Twitch. I was really dedicated to it for a while,
Uh-huh.
but I just felt like I saw my break with YouTube, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just let me just chill back on Twitch. I'm not really seeing quite the result that I was thinking maybe I didn't see a path forward that was reasonable for the time I was putting in, but I saw a path forward YouTube. So I'm like, Twitch is cool. I'll keep my channel just to have it, but I need to work on this on YouTube because this I could see a path forward. That's really what it boils down to. You got to see where is your path forward, what you where you see that you have a potential to have goals and to reach them. And so
Okay.
while I think Twitch is interesting in its own right, the whole idea of just going live, having fun, that's cool for
Yeah.
sure. But I just didn't see a path forward that was reasonable for the time I would have to put in.
Okay, okay. Now, do you have a game that gave you the best streaming experience and a game that gave you the worst streaming experience?
Oh man, a game that gave me the worst is The Expanse. Oh my god. That was I was so bored. And at that point when you're just bored while you're playing a game, and the shame is I really do like Telltale games. They've had some of my all-time favorite games. Like the season 1 of The Walking Dead is
Yes.
such a classic,
Love
man.
that
It's such a
game.
beautiful
The
story.
Wolf Among Us.
Yes, The Wolf Among Us, I think, is their best work. And I'm hoping and praying that the sequel will live up to the
Mhm.
hype all the time that it's been in development. But The Expanse, man, makes me slightly concerned because that game is just really boring. It was like every episode was super short, very unfulfilling.
Hmm.
I played through. I was thinking like, oh, I'll just stream and do this one episode, and it'll be at least 2 hours. And it's like, no, no. And like, I'm an entertainer, man. I'm here to entertain
Yeah.
the people. I'm here to put on a show. So it's like, when an episode's done an hour, well, let's go play Fortnite or something. Because it's like, well,
It's
that
only
wasn't very
1 hour?
entertaining.
It's only 1 hour?
The first 2 episodes were like a little over an hour apiece. They
They're
felt
like 2
really,
hours
really
on
short.
Walking Dead. 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, so it just didn't feel like a very fulfilling experience from just a gamer wanting a good story, because it's not like I expect a super insane like gameplay experience.
Mhm.
I just wanted a decent story. From that perspective, it's just unfulfilling and it wasn't very entertaining. So at that point, it's like, well, when something's not entertaining, you kind of just have to be the entertainment and start making fun of it. That's the first thing I go to, for better or for worse. But,
And
that's just
I just want to say,
unfortunate.
we have the one and only BitCloud Gaming and Eric Cuts for the win in
Hell
the
yeah.
chat. Hello,
Woo.
love you all to death. Can we get a shout out for Eric Cuts and BitCloud, please and thank you. Hi
Woo.
friends, welcome to the show. Both former guests
Cozy,
too. Former guests. Love. Yeah, I love
Hey.
how one of my mods is my guest now. I love that. But I mean,
Yeah.
so going back to that game, what was so boring about it? Because I mean, they're in space and stuff. Like, what is?
You would think.
Yeah.
I was like, and from what I've heard, The Expanse as a TV show was like one of those sleeper hits. So I'm like, okay, maybe if I like this, I'll go actually watch the show. And no takeaway from the show. I haven't watched it. I can't really speak for it. But I've heard a lot of good things. And even the people that watched it, the show that were watching my stream were like, yeah, this ain't doing it. It just didn't feel eventful. Especially when you like they just did this thing with the first episode going into the second episode where at the end of the first episode you're like, oh man, it's gonna pop off at the second episode. And then when you go to that second episode and you play it, and all that buildup just ends up being a kind of side thing, and then you go into this other stuff that's just boring. Man, it's just there's no payoff. You shouldn't have to wait an entire series to have a payoff, and then who knows if there's even a payoff at the end. If you're going episodically, you got to have your highs and lows. And when everything just feels like, oh, everything's a buildup, and then you go to next episode expecting it for that buildup to have paid off, and then there's nothing there, and you just keep going, and even that end of the second episode is boring. Man, come on, yo. Telltale, I expect more from you guys. You guys did The Wolf Among Us.
Seriously.
Amazing. Telltale's The Walking Dead. Like, they knew how to structure a story for like 4 to 5 episodes and it feel fulfilling, and you're excited for the next one. Wasn't getting that there, sadly.
Man, I wonder if the same writers of those games worked on this game. I mean, it's cool that they're even back in the first place. Props to them for that. But it's just, yeah, all that's left now is Wolf Among Us. So what can you do? Now, what about the best streaming experience?
Well, I guess I'm gonna have like what do you call it, like recency bias, but I started streaming. I streamed RoboCop for Halloween. Just the fact it was Halloween was cool. The fact that the game was good, running really well. Like Peter Weller is playing RoboCop. He is RoboCop. He's the OG. His voice acting's on point. I mean, we got Officer Lewis, who it isn't played by Nancy Allen, but like they're RoboCop fans have this natural love of Lewis as a character.
Yeah.
Like she's by RoboCop's side. So like they just hitting all those beats as a fan, being a fan of RoboCop. And it's like it's a game that if you have tempered expectations, like I'm so impressed. I was so impressed. I love the way that the game plays, and everyone in the chat was digging it too. Like it's one of those things where chat is like being like thoroughly impressed by this B tier game, and you could tell by the way that they're commenting, like, "Oh man, that was actually really cool. Oh man, that was actually really funny." Like, RoboCop has a way of making side missions that at first you think, "Oh man, this is gonna suck," and then when you actually go do them, something silly happens, or something that surprised you, like, "Oh, I wasn't expecting that to happen," but hey, it made doing that side mission worth it. Like all that stuff is really cool, and you just feel like a tank beast. Okay, I really do feel like RoboCop with his gun, blowing people's heads off, freaking picking up people and throwing them at other dudes. Like,
Oof.
bro, just the old school gameplay experience of making you feel like you're a powerful person in a game. I love it.
And we
That was
need
great.
more games like that. We need more games like that where you just forget about telling this gripping narrative and serious story. Just have fun, you know? Just go back to the PS2 era games and just have fun, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we need that. Like I think that cinema style in video games is definitely a cool thing. Don't get me wrong, when done right, though. But you also need breakaways. Like, not. I just wish gaming wasn't so trendy right now. Everyone just wants to follow a trend. Like,
Yeah.
can we go back to experimenting, doing different things, or just doing a plethora of different things? That I think is what makes for the best of gaming. That's why, to me, like, sixth gen, seventh gen were so like beloved to me at the time.
Okay, so now I want to talk about, so you're streaming on Twitch, it's going well. Now, there is this new streaming kid on the block called Kick.
Yeah.
And you've been like a big like promoter of Kick, and so I'm actually considering streaming on Kick at some point. How has streaming on Kick been compared to Twitch? What are they doing right that Twitch is getting wrong?
So Kick is really interesting. I decided to jump in as soon as I heard about it because why not?
Yeah.
As a creator, you understand that a lot of headspace is already pretty much taken over on Twitch.
Yeah.
It's hard to find, your little nook in this headspace that's already pretty much taken up. So a new kid on the block, man, where pretty much you could throw your hat in the ring and see what happens. Kick wasn't, I was like, man, to hell with it. Let's do it. It's like the Wild Wild West over there too, and some of it's a little bit a bit much, but then
Yeah.
some of it's like actually when you find like the right people, it's actually fun, silly. Like you don't have to be walking on eggshells, and that's what I love overall. So that's what the big draw was, and Kick as a company, at least for right now, they're treating the creators like, yeah, you guys are bringing the entertainment to our hosting platform, our streaming platform, and we're going to respect the fact that without the creator, we have nothing. So the fact that they do treat creators right with not taking half their money, which is pretty crazy. I mean, it's like what, a 90-95 split to the creator. And they
Nice.
take 5. And to be honest with you, even if they go like a little more, if they take a little more, if it makes a better platform, like it's willing to compromise sort of deal. But it's really nice that they do respect the creator. They are trying to build a platform. They are catering to people because they're trying to grow as a platform. Now, will it always be that way? I don't know. You
Mhm.
never know. Companies can be fickle, but as of right now, I think they're doing a good job. It's come a long way in just less than a year now. It's crazy to see the growth on Kick, and I enjoy it. It's just a cool place where I can go watch people's requests. Like basically, I have this thing up in my Discord where people post videos for me to react to. I don't have to pre-watch them to be able to see like, oh man, is this YouTube friendly? Is this fall over in TOS? Like, no, obviously, thankfully the people that are in my Discord respect me enough to not post anything too crazy. But I don't have to pre-watch anything because then what's the point? It's not a reaction if you have to pre-watch it. So I'll do like react requests on Kick, like different things that I would be like, I have to be concerned with on YouTube. I don't really have to worry about it on Kick, and that's the appeal to me personally.
I
It's
like
more
that.
of like it's a more of a hangout that you can just really hang out and just vibe and just do silly shit and just make it a good time, man.
Nice. So it's weird to me because Mixer was the new kid on the block. They had a strong start with Ninja and stuff, but we all know we all know what happened to them. So why is it that Kick is like doing good, whereas Mixer was doing bad in your opinion?
Well, it's one of those things where Mixer, their way of going about things is, well, if we sign all the big people from Twitch, that'll bring the people over. Like what helped with Kick is that people naturally kind of were interested from the jump without all the signings. Now they do have signings now too, which definitely helps, but I think honestly, I think the most interesting thing about Kick is the fact that Twitch has made so many stupid mistakes that have
Yes.
mistreated their creators. It has made people consider Kick that otherwise wouldn't have because of the overreach. And it's good to have competition in the space. It's needed. Before Kick, there really wasn't much, and that's why Twitch went the way that they did with the overreach that they've had. And I'm glad to see that people are trying Kick. It's one of those things where my biggest pet peeve with Kick is that if you want to play sort of niche titles, there's no audience for that yet. But that comes with time. So I'm definitely, I like Kick. I'm gonna stick with Kick. I haven't been streaming there lately because I had personal
Mm-hmm.
life things going on, and I've been kind of getting my YouTube kick started again after taking a little bit of a break. But then we're
Kick
going back to
started.
Kick, man.
Kick started.
Heck yeah.
I like that. I like that. Well, I'll be sure to give it a chance sometime. And yeah, so now I want to ask you because we are getting more and more of your community members showing up in chat. Hello, thanks for the follows, by the way. What do you think about your community, Cass? Like the community that you built from the ground up. What do you think of them? And do you have any shout outs you would like to give?
Well, first off, I want to say my community is genuinely insane. But the one thing that I do like, for better or for worse, because there's positives and negatives to this, is that I have reached out to different communities. Like I don't stay in one specific community. I'm willing to go to different places, meet new people, and bring a whole different group of people together. And it has been very interesting. Some of it has led with a little bit of clashing, but it's rare when that happens, thankfully. I'm glad that people like actually appreciate me and respect me enough to be courteous, to be kind, and that means a lot. And definitely, I gotta give a shout out to Native in the chat who's tee hee heeing because I do that just for shits and giggles to be
Woo!
funny.
Yes. And a special shout out
uh,
to Erica and BitCloud Gaming.
hell
Love
yeah,
y'all to death. Thanks for coming
yeah,
by.
Erica's
It means a
dope,
lot.
man.
Thank you. Really
Erica,
is.
Big Cloud's a pain in the ass, but he's a good dude. And definitely shout out to Blaze 4K.
Woo!
Uh, and man, I can't. It's one of those things you have to appreciate people that welcome you with open arms, especially in a general community where people kind of feel sus about everyone and everything. So I really do appreciate that, and just being around good people that genuinely, man. I gotta give a shout out to the Sly Crow who's now running my Discord because I am not very good at managing anything. So That is very much appreciated. There's just people that are so kind that in any little way, man. Um, one dude, Hustle and Motivate, man, such a nice guy, bro. Just out of for nothing, people out here have been kind to me, expecting nothing in return.
Mm-hmm.
And I do what I can, obviously, but we all have limited means. But the fact that people do go out of their way, not expecting anything, is it's a beautiful thing. There's a lot of kind people out here, and I couldn't. I'd be here all day just reading down a list of awesome people that have been
Yeah.
really just awesome, and you as well, Mo. I got to give a shout out to you, bro. You've always been genuinely kind to me, bro, and it's one of those things where I always try to say thank you to the community all the time, to the people that always show up, to the people that always, they'll tell me things that maybe I shouldn't do, things that I should do, and I appreciate that too. Like, you know, uh, I'm doing YouTube. I've gotten into this knowing nothing and barely knowing how to do any of this stuff, and
Mhm.
I've learned so much, and there's still more to learn. Every day for me is a day to learn, and there's
Amen.
people that have helped me with that. There's people that have looked out for me, and I couldn't name them all. I really couldn't.
Shout
But
out to
I'm
Solid
appreciative
Rev,
to all
to
of 'em.
Alex, to everyone, all
Hell
Alex,
yeah.
yeah, Alex, yeah, all them, all above, because we love you, Cass. We fucking love you so much. That's why I invited you on here, because you are like the legit, the coolest mofo you will ever meet. The
I don't think
HBIC
of
that you
myself.
love. The HBIC that everybody loves. Facts. That's a fact.
And you know what? To me, calling myself the HBIC is literally just it's a meme. Like, I don't take it
It is,
seriously.
yeah,
I don't
it
think
is.
of myself I don't think of myself as better than anyone else. I'm just an average person just talking about video games and meeting new people, having fun. Like, that's just how I go about things. It's uh, a lot of people can get a big head on their shoulders when they get a little bit of popularity. I mean, to me, I'm not that type of person. I just want to talk about games, shoot the shit, and just have fun with it.
I feel that. Let's talk about games, baby. Let's talk about you and me. So, Cass, what do you do out when you're not streaming on Twitch, streaming on YouTube or Kick, or destroying fanboys on Twitter? What do you like to do in your spare time? Like, what do you do outside of content creation for fun?
Well, I'm a unfortunate slave to a cat named Ziggy, so pretty much whatever he wants, he gets, and I make sure that he's taken care of. That is first and foremost. Ziggy's my little man's, and I mean, shoot, for me, I do longboard a little bit. It's one of those things where I don't do it nearly as much as I used to because I moved from New York to PA. But for me, I'm freaking, I'm just all over the place sometimes. I like to try new things. I'm
Yeah.
really silly. Like, I definitely. Oh man, some of the stories I won't even get into it. But for me, I definitely like to longboard a little bit here and there.
Mhm.
I wish that there. It's one of those things. I live out in the sticks now. I used to live. I come from New York. I used to live in Queens, New York, and now I live in the sticks in PA, and it's a weird transition that I'm still trying to get used to. And it's been difficult. I'm still learning. I'm still trying. One of those things where no matter what you do, people still know you're from New York. That's
Yeah.
what I'm still dealing. That's what I'm still dealing with. I could try and change my accent. I could try. The one thing I can't do is wear different clothes. It's a dead giveaway every time. Every time. I pull up in jeans, a leather jacket, and J's, and everyone knows. Oh, you're a New Yorker, huh? It's like, yeah.
That's funny. And also, shout out to Blaze 4K in the
Hey,
chat.
what up?
The homie Blaze 4K. We got Big Cloud and Erica and Blaze. Oh man, all the homies are rolling up. What's up, Blaze? If
bro?
Oh no, it's Alex shows up, that is a wrap. That's when everyone shows up. It's a fucking
Hey,
adventure. It's a fucking
it's a party.
end game scene. It's the Avengers end game scene where everyone's coming through the portals for real. Yeah.
Is he gonna snap his finger?
Yeah, yes, and have all of it. So now I want to talk about a topic that is very relevant right now. I want to talk about Spider-Man 2. for the PS5? Because you and I have been playing it a lot. Cassie, how are you enjoying Spider-Man 2?
So for me, it's been honestly speaking a mixed bag. But the things that I really love about it, I love that city. They expanded upon it. I can visit, Astoria, Queens, which is someplace I've been to plenty of times, being a New Yorker. But I love the way that they expanded upon the city. I love the way that they did the traversal, being able to like glide around as Peter Miles is really cool. It definitely adds to your repertoire of traversal, and I'm glad that they did that because for me in a Spider-Man game, like fast traveling is like very much a rarity. I enjoy being in that relaxed, like swinging or getting around the city. It's always been, I mean, hell, I played the OG Spider-Man 2
Me
for
too. Me too.
for an insane amount of time. Just not even playing the campaign, just going through the
Swinging.
city. It's an addiction. So the fact that not only you could swing around, but you can glide around too, it's pretty sick. They did a great job with it. The overall performance of this game is astonishing.
Yes.
The level
Yes.
of detail, and with that, the game still runs amazing. It's a testament to Insomniac's ability, man.
They're carrying PlayStation for real.
They are. And the combat, I like how they made the combat seamless. The fact that you don't have to like make the game go in slow motion to switch up like gadgets or your moves. That's a big deal. The fact that you can do that, and I had to get used to that. It was so weird.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, I had to like remember like the
L1.
controls. Yeah, it was crazy. The parry system is nice. It's one of those things where you definitely have to adjust to the changes. Like it may not, while looking at the game, it may not seem like they did much change, but when you're playing it, you have like it's gonna take a little bit of time for you to adjust to those changes. So
Yeah.
that's a thing. And playing as Venom has been we need more of that. Like you were talking about behind the scenes, definitely need more of that. It'd be awesome if there was a DLC revolving around Venom and just that character, or who knows, maybe diving into other things.
I don't know where to begin, and we'll try and keep it spoiler free because I personally haven't beat the game yet. I'm pretty close though, but I got to that part of the game, and when that happened, Cass, no words. There was no. I lost my voice from screaming so much. For real. It's just, I love, Venom is legit my favorite villain in all of comic books, so to get to, and I was like, please, let us play as him, even for a little bit, and that's exactly what fucking happens. Thank you, Insomniac Overlords. That was, I mean, what was your reaction when were you like, oh my god, and stuff also?
Oh yeah, like, just smashing through walls and
The
just
Hulk.
stomping people out. Yeah, like they did a really good job with that. That is a big highlight of that game. It's a shame that it is so short, and it's one of those things where after playing as Venom, I didn't want to play as anyone else anymore. I didn't care about anyone else anymore. I mean, that's a me thing for sure. I kind of didn't really feel very connected to the protagonist of the story. So when I don't feel that, I just want to be the antagonist or the anti-hero. That's just how I feel. But Venom, he's sick. We need more of that. Like
DLC.
Playing as Venom
DLC.
in a DLC,
Yes.
yeah, that would bait me. That would definitely bait me.
It's just, when I first started playing the game, yeah, first of all, on a technical level, what they're able to accomplish with the PS5 is just, what can you imagine the PS5 Pro? Right? It's just, I'm legit buying a new TV just for the PS5 because my TV
I'm
right
set
now,
with my TV.
huh?
I'm personally set with my TV. I'm good for whatever
Nice.
is down the pipeline. I want to see a consistency of next gen only games before I think about
Yeah.
anything, any sort of upgrades, And to be real with you, I mean, hell, I'm more of a PC person, so
That's fine.
it depends. Like, and for me, at the end of the day, if there's a PlayStation exclusive I want to play, I'm gonna buy it. That's what it boils down to. But
Yeah. Because it's just like my TV only supports 60 frames, but the PS5 can do 120 frames, It's a 65-inch OLED TV, so I can only imagine how sexy the PS5 games are going to look on that. So I'm excited for that. But the game, whether you have an OLED TV or 4K TV, it still looks fucking sex for your eyeballs, man. It's so beautiful, and just how smoothly it runs and stuff, and just it gets better, and it is overwhelming how good this game is. For me, it is my pick for game of the year, my personal pick.
Okay.
It's just there's no game this year that comes to that level of quality for me personally. But that's actually my next question: is what do you think, in your opinion, is your game of the year?
Oh man, it's still a toss up, to be real with you. I'm kind of, I don't know. I've been enjoying RoboCop so much that might be the case, but it's still a toss up.
Yeah.
And it's kind of difficult because I really do like Starfield, but it can't be ignored, the issues that Starfield has. Like, I definitely want to dive into the great things about Starfield and things that are kind of crappy about Starfield. So that's a thing, but it is still like a toss up for me at this point. I don't honestly, with Spider-Man, it's not gonna fall into that category just because I couldn't really connect with any of the protagonists very much. It just doesn't really work for me. And that's just, once it goes there, it's difficult to get me back. I
Yeah.
think the gameplay is awesome. I think playing as Venom is sick. But overall, when I can't connect to characters that I'm supposed to like from a narrative perspective, it's hard to get me to like your game in a meaningful way, to be like, oh, this is my game of the year.
Yeah.
Um, Honestly, it's definitely a toss up right now. RoboCop's looking like it. I do plan to play Sea of Stars before the end of this year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one I played a little bit of, but I was like, let me get through Starfield first so I don't juggle two, RPG games. But Sea of Stars looks insane. The little I played of it, I'm like, yo, this is a must play. So I'm interested in that too. But right now, I'm loving RoboCop, man. As a
I'm
RoboCop
glad.
fan.
I'm really glad. I really am. Like, you are just gushing about the robotic cops, and I mean,
Hell yeah.
is it on Game Pass?
No, not
It's
as
not.
of yet.
Okay.
I don't know if you have like a. Are you into PC gaming at all? Or
Yeah, I'm a console peasant. Sorry, but I'll gladly play on PC if that's the only way to play.
I mean, you could play it anywhere, but I will say that CD Keys is a nice little deal for the game. So
Nice. So, but the way I see it, I feel like when it comes to the Game Awards coming next month, actually, which I'm going to by the way, Chad. And well, Chad, let us know your pick for the Game of the Year for you. Let us know in the chat, because here's my prediction for the Game Awards. I feel like Spider-Man and Tears of the Kingdom and F16 will get like the smaller awards, but I feel like Boulder Gate 3 will win Game of the Year, because that's the game everybody's talking about, I personally haven't played it yet, but I have a feeling that Boulder Gate will win Game of the Year, and that's fine. That's fine. Like, don't let awards devalue what you like about the game. If you like the game, like the game. If it doesn't win an award, that's fine. Don't let awards. Yeah. But yeah, go on.
I am the type of person, I think that the Game Awards is a complete joke. Me watching it is simply to make fun of it with my friends.
Yes.
I do not care how many awards a game gets. I don't care how many awards a game doesn't get. That's just, people that fight the console wars peddle on the internet. What matters is what I like, what I enjoy.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm glad you said it, and that's why I had you on here. Dropping facts.
Yeah, definitely. But you're speaking facts too, man. Don't let these award ceremonies dictate what you think is good and what you think is bad. Don't let Metacritic dictate.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's weird watching people pocket watch with Metacritic of all things, man. It's crazy. It's like, bro, like, I don't know. I guess I have an idealistic, sense of gaming, and I want to just be in tuned in it in a way that kind of just keeps the mainstream out of it. Like, I don't translate well to, like, the way the mainstream is, and for them to dictate what I should and shouldn't enjoy and what I think is good or bad, it's never really gonna that's not gonna really be a realistic thing. So
Exactly. Like these motherfuckers that go to Metacritic, who like open 100 accounts to lower a score on Metacritic. You are without a doubt the most pathetic son of a bitch on the planet. You really are.
Yeah.
You are the basement dwelling, hey mom, come wipe my ass loser on the fucking planet. So you can go on Twitter and be like, haha, your score goes from 87 to 85. Suck it, fanboys. Fuck you. Just saying. Go on, Cass. Yeah, now we're talking about the fanboys, basically. So go ahead and say how much you hate those basement dwellers.
Well, honestly speaking, I'm notoriously the laziest human being on earth. That even translates to some of my gaming habits. I stick to fundamentals. Okay, that's just what I am. For the thought of making multiple or even one Metacritic account just to give a shit score to a game or even give an overwhelming praising score to a game is just a complete waste of time, and to be honest with you, it makes me want to go to sleep instead.
I agree.
So yeah, the people that really go out of their way for that, I don't know what to tell y'all. Y'all are kind of extra. Just play your games. Prove it that you like it that way, I guess. But
Exactly.
yeah, it's one of those things where the shit slinging in the gaming community, it doesn't end. It seems to be in some ways getting crazier than ever before. And at this point, man, I'll just laugh at it. I'll laugh at just how people conduct themselves, and I would love to see more like genuine people really
Yeah.
get the spotlight, because it's like the whole console warring thing is just to, at this point, just to say the most insane thing, get attention, keep it moving.
And that's what sucks, Cass, is that these idiots who say the dumb shit on the Bird app, they get the most attention. You know what I'm saying? You can say you love a game, no one beats an eye. You say something stupid about a fucking title screen, and then everyone wants to like quote tweet you. You say something about you like use a freaking what do you call it? A mob, a freaking people out in public being crazy, and you use that to console war. That gets attention. So it's just
Yeah.
because granted, they've been console warring since we were in school on the playground. I remember those days.
Yeah.
But now that everybody has a phone, all the maniacs has a phone, computer also, they can say whatever hot take they want and they get attention. Me,
Yeah.
block, mute. That's what you do.
Yeah. The problem is, and it's like this double-edged sword, that the problem that lies, and the positive thing too, is that that gaming is now mainstream.
Yes.
It is a blessing and a curse. To me, I
Yes.
think it's more of a curse. I feel like I had so much more fun with games when I was that one fucking loser female in grade school that was the only girl that played video games in my class, and I was ostracized for it. Yes, my social life wasn't necessarily the best, but guess what? I can go home from school after being picked on and made fun of, and I could play some damn fine-ass entertainment and not have to deal with the insane fuck shit that goes on like in modern day.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where the fact that gaming is so mainstream, it attracts people that aren't even into gaming. That's the one thing that fucking it pisses me off more than anything else. Like the frauds that never were into gaming when it was the unpopular thing to do, or it was the ostracized thing to do. When it became profitable and you could build a following off of it, then these people get it on. And I've been playing video games since I was like 6 years old. That's been my main hobby my entire life. There's been like instances like when I was like 16 where I kind of put it on the side for hanging out and doing different things. But that's what every teenager gets into at some point. But I've always come around to gaming being my favorite form of entertainment. And to see a lot of it, like the gaming experience being hijacked by people that don't even understand like why gaming is so good to begin with, is problematic to me. But then you do have the irrational provocateurs that do say the most insane shit on YouTube, on Twitter, to get all this attention. They don't even believe. I can't believe they believe half of the things that they say. They just say it because, well,
Attention.
I belong to this company, this group of people that praise the Lord of Sony or praise the Lord of Microsoft, and we just stick there, and that's what we co-sign all the time. Like, it's insane to me because I've never grown up with that mindset. I've always grown up with, well, this game is here, so I'll go there if I want it. I don't care about the company. It's just, what are you providing? Is it worth it? And are the games interesting enough to get me to go there? That's what it boils down to.
I agree. So moving on to a more positive topic. So since you have a lot of your guests on here watching us, what are some of the upcoming content that they can look forward to?
Man, we got everything that I do is mostly spur of the moment. I never like to force myself to do things that I don't want to do. Some days I wake up, I'm just looking at current news, and I'm like, oh, that's actually something interesting. Let me look into this, and then ends up becoming a video. Like, most of the time, videos that I come up, that I make and I drop, it's just the day before I just thought to do this, and I thought, oh man, this would be inspiring to do, or I would be driven to make a decent video and have a decent topic discussion on this. So that's just how I do things. So there's some weeks where honestly I have a video just about every day, and then there's some weeks where I only have like 1 or 2 videos, and that's just what it is. But you always, one thing you do have to look forward to that is guaranteed is that every Thursday I do go live on YouTube. If it be the Two Reels for Feels podcast with me and my homies, being my longtime buddies I've been gaming with, and usually a guest or multiple guests.
Like me, I was a guest on there one time. Awesome experience.
More than one time.
Yes.
A couple of times. And it was definitely awesome. You added so much to the podcast every time you showed up. It was always fun hanging out with you. And I definitely try to bring on different people that I think have interesting things to say and have different opinions. But hey, man, we can come together, break bread, have our differences and talk it out and have overall discussions about, the entertainment that we like. And sometimes we don't even talk about video games. Sometimes we talk about movies. Sometimes we talk about whatever, man. And, an interesting topic that I may not necessarily be into, but maybe one of the people on the panel are into, or even the guest that, the guest is into this particular topic. I would like to know more. Let's make that a topic. That's something I love to do.
Amazing.
So that's always something to look forward to.
Amazing.
And that's, one that's the off week. And then, every other week it's different. So Two Real for Feels podcast Thursday, this coming Thursday, but then the following Thursday is just me going live on my own. Just talking about fanboy nonsense, shooting the shit, discussing topics that are going on in the community. I definitely like to switch things up. So I feel like, 1 week pertaining to podcasts around, the whole crew. And then, another week, just me hanging out with the homies. That's always, it changes things up. I like to make sure that I don't do the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
Then it gets boring.
Keeping it fresh. I love that. Well, we are going to wrap things up now with the fan favorite section of the show called Top 10 Questions on Motown Downtown.
Top 10 questions. You got the questions. Top 10 questions. I got the answers. Top 10 questions. Better get your answers ready.
Where I'm going to ask my guests 10 questions courtesy of Inside the Actors Studio. So, Cass, are you ready?
Shoot, let's do it.
All right. So, my first question is, what is your favorite word?
Every curse word that I could think of. Cunt. That's one that I love to say whenever it is appropriate. It's never appropriate.
You are like the 5th person in a row who used that word. It's a popular word. People usually say fuck, so I'm just like, somebody finally said something other than fuck. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
So, what is your least favorite word?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Let's go with moist. That always just never comes off right. No matter what way it's used, it just never sits right with me.
I agree.
Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah. Cult classic Cage. What makes you happy?
My cat Ziggy. Despite being a slave to a cat, the reason why it's because it's completely the love is reciprocated despite the enslavement. So I love Ziggy, and he makes me happy. And
Aw.
man, just my family, like honestly, I have a great family and a good support system, and even friends, man. Like honestly, just a lot of people that are looking out. And I do cherish every moment that I have with people.
You make me happy too, Cass. Real talk.
Appreciate that.
So, what makes you upset?
Man, honestly, the sad thing is watching my favorite franchises be bastardized and destroyed right before my eyes. I feel like we're in the time period of that. Like, that is the most, like, the thing that it's like, oh, well, damn, Star Wars stinks. Okay, let's move to something else. Oh, Star Trek stinks. Oh, okay, let's move to gaming. Wow, Fallout sucks now. Well, Mafia 3 didn't turn out too well, sadly, and I'm scared of what they, like stuff like that. It's like, damn, it's kind of rough. But hey, man, I'm hopeful that that these things that I'm into make a turnaround, or more things sprout up to take its place.
All right. What sound or noise do you love?
Sound or noise? Dang. I guess here damn, that's a tough one. Wow. I guess one of the ones that I can't say this is the definitive, but it's like the first thing that comes to mind is just hearing an achievement or trophy pop on a video game.
Nice.
Yeah.
100% agree. Now, what sound or noise do you hate?
Oh man, when people are eating and they scratch their knife or fork on the plate. Oh man, it's one of those things where I could never get over that. It always bothers the shit out of me.
I feel that. All right, so cult classic Cage. What is your favorite curse word?
Oh man.
Yep.
Well, I guess cunt technically isn't a curse word. It could theoretically be used as a curse word, but if I have to pick one specific curse word, I guess, and I'd say, yeah, I guess it'd be fuck. That is so generic, but it's one of those things where I use it so much that I
An old
can't.
classic never goes out of style.
Yeah, and you could use it in pretty much every given situation. If it be a happy one, a sad one.
Yeah, a good fuck never goes out of style. Cha-ching.
Exactly.
So, what profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Oh man. Man, that's a tough one. I guess when I was a kid, I really was into golf, and I still actually do golf. So it'd be interesting if I was like a professional female golfer.
Nice.
I know that could sound boring to some people, but I actually do enjoy golf.
It's chill. It's very chill.
Hell yeah, it's fun. It's fun just hitting the shit out of something and
Yes.
not going to prison for it, okay?
Exactly, I agree. Hitting yes with all your might. Hit that ball with all your might, yes. So, what profession would you not like to attempt?
Anything that is super public to the point where I have no control over it. I don't know, like
Public
maybe
speaker?
some. Yeah, I would hate that. I mean, I'm very, despite doing YouTube, I'm very shy. Funny enough, I have
okay.
it's one of those things. Another big reason why I started doing YouTube is to try to accommodate try to get over some of my insecurities or things that I've never been good at. So I guess being a public speaker would suck, or I don't know. I picture being like a newscaster. It sounds like absolute horror all day, every single day. That sounds like its own personal hell.
Yeah,
Just being a newscaster.
gotcha. All right, last question is, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh man. Well, you get to play all the video games that you want, Cass. All day, every day. There is no limitations. Every video game that exists. Let's freaking go.
Yes! And whenever a new console comes out, a a better one does not come out a few months later. That'd be heaven. That'd be heaven.
Yeah.
But one more round of applause for our amazing guest, Cult Classic Cage. Can we get one more shout out, please, in the chat for the illustrious, amazing, immeasurable Cult Classic Cage? Thank you so much for coming out here tonight, friend. So before we go, how about one more parting words where they can find you and all that stuff? Give us your farewell.
Just to keep it simple, Cult Classic Cage on YouTube, Twitter, or Kick. I love to talk to new people, and I guess one of the things I'm most notorious for is trying to talk to everyone in the chat. I've come to terms with sometimes that's difficult, but I do try my hardest. And as a small creator, I'm sure you value that and you think it's important too. So, man, I love to meet new people, different walks of life, talk about all sorts of things, entertainment, not just even gaming, and overall give a great experience. And to be the entertainer, because that to me, like I being a content creator is a guarantee for me to do my best to entertain you. So that's what it's all about. If you're into that, you're welcome to hang out with me anytime you so choose to.
Hell yeah. So we're gonna go raid my friend Rosemary Reed T. She's live playing Alan Wake 2 right now. I've heard nothing but good things about that. What should you decide the raid message, Kaz? What should the raid message be?
Kick ass, take names.
Okay. Kick ass, take names. Hold on. I have fat finger syndrome. Take
You and me both.
names. There you go. Everyone copy and paste that in our chat. I will be back on Monday for more Spider-Man 2. So I'll see you all on Monday for more Bully McGuiring. Thank you for coming out here. Thank you, Kat, for coming out here. And y'all have a fantastic weekend. And I'll see you this Monday. Bye-bye.